Well, welcome back, friends, to Remix Moments with Martine, where we remix your mindset one moment at a time. Today's moment is all about choosing your hard. Life is full of challenges, as we all know, but what's empowering is that you get to choose which hard you face. So let's dive right in. Welcome to Remix Moments with Martine, where we will remix your mindset one moment at a time. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and I'm here to bring you a quick burst of inspiration, insight, and a fresh spin on your mompreneur journey. In just a few minutes, we'll remix your mindset, energize your day, and keep you moving forward with purpose. Let's dive in to today's moment. We all know that running a business while raising a family is no walk in the park. It's hard, right? Like none of us would deny that. But what if I told you that hard is inevitable no matter what you choose? The real power comes from deciding which hard you are willing to live with. There's the hard you know, the comfort zone hard, and the hard you don't know. The one that might take you to the next level, but also feels pretty scary. These are the decisions. These are the choices that we get to make. And today we're going to break it down and we're going to explore why staying in the hard that you know is holding you back and how choosing the hard you don't know could be the best decision you ever make. I see it day in and day out. Every time someone gets on a clarity call, every time a client comes into my coaching, they are choosing their hard. They're choosing their unknown hard. So let's start with the hard that you know. This is the everyday grind you're already familiar with, the overwhelm of juggling work, family, and trying to do it all yourself. It's pushing through the burnout because stepping away feels like failure. Maybe it's the constant pressure of perfectionism where nothing ever feels good enough. And it's not just in business, it's personal too. Maybe you're in a relationship where communication isn't working, but the hard you know is to avoid those uncomfortable conversations. Or maybe the hard you know is holding onto a habit that drains you, like saying yes to everything, even when you're exhausted because you don't want to disappoint people. That's the hard you know. It's hard, but it's hard that you've learned to manage. It's hard, but it's the hard that you have learned to manage. I want you to hear that. You know the terrain, even if it's draining the life out of you, it's familiar. Sometimes the chaos is so familiar and so comfortable that trying to step out of it and create new things and new results for yourself is uncomfortable because you've become so comfortable with the burnout. You've become so comfortable with being familiar with the overwhelm. This is the thing. The hard you know often keeps you in a cycle of frustration and exhaustion. You're doing, but you're not really growing. Does that sound familiar? It's like a revolving door. Instead of evolving, you're revolving. You're revolving around the hard that you know. Now let's talk about the hard you don't know. This is the one that makes you uncomfortable. Maybe in your business, it's hiring help, outsourcing some of your tasks, or even pivoting your business. Maybe it's setting boundaries with clients or investing in coaching that pushes you outside of your comfort zone. But it's also personal. Maybe the hard you don't know is finally having that tough conversation with your partner about boundaries or expectations, even though you fear conflict. Or maybe it's choosing to prioritize your health, changing your daily routine so that self-care is no longer optional, but a requirement. Which that might mean waking up earlier for a workout or saying no to things that don't serve your well-being. This hard feels risky because you don't know what's on the other side. There's fear of failure, there's doubts, there's uncertainty. But guess what, friends? The hard you don't know is also where all the growth happens. It's where you can step into the next level of your life in your business. It's stepping into possibilities versus staying in the problem. Choosing this unknown hard is like opening a door to the new possibilities. It might be uncomfortable at first. I almost will guarantee it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but it's the kind of hard that leads to real progress. And that's what you want here. So here's the mindset shift I want you to consider. Both paths are hard, but only one of them offers real change. The hard will keep you stuck. How many times have you said, I'm stuck? I feel stuck. It's predictable, but it's limiting. The hard you don't know, that's where you stretch. That's where you learn. That's where new opportunities lie. You've heard me say this in the podcast before. I either get the result that I want or the lesson that I need. I fully believe that. That helps me step into the unknown hard. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? What if the unknown is hard? What if the unknown hard is even worse? And yes, there's a chance of failure. You're going to figure out some things are going to work and some things aren't going to work. But there's also the chance of success. There's also the chance of growth. There's also the chance of reaching levels you didn't even know that you could. There's also the chance of creating a life and a business that is good versus just looks good on the outside. That could be on the other side of this unknown hard. That's a mindset shift. That's a change in your beliefs. So let's bring this to life with a couple of examples. The hard running your business solo, doing every task yourself because you're afraid no one else will care as much as you do or do it the way you do. That's hard. It's exhausting, but it feels safer than trusting someone else. I never forget hiring my first assistant and actually delegating out my email. Like all of the emails that came through her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to give off this control? Right. But it was equally hard, or now that I can see it was harder for me to be the one to be in my inbox all day because it kept me from doing the most important things in my business. The hard you don't know is you desire to hire a virtual assistant or delegate the task. It's hard because you've never done it before and you fear losing control. But once you do, imagine how much time you could free up to focus on what really matters in your business, like scaling or spending more time with your family. So let's think about some out of the business examples. Like the hard is you're afraid to set boundaries with family members because you don't want to cause friction. That's the hard So you say yes to every request for help, every family gathering, and even when you're burned out, even when you're on empty, you still say yes. That's the hard That's the hard reality that many of you are living in right now. The hard you don't know is you start to prioritize your well-being by saying no when necessary. And even though it might cause some discomfort or disappointment, it's hard to push back, but eventually it leads to more peace in your personal life and you regain time and energy for yourself. That's the hard you don't know. And you don't know how long it's going to take, and you don't know how people are going to respond when you start doing the boundaries, but you do know how they're responding right now, and they're sucking the life out of you and you're burned out. Another one could be the hard is you're stuck in unhealthy eating habits because preparing healthier meals feels like it's too much work, feels too hard. I don't have time for that. You feel sluggish, you feel tired, and you're unhappy with your health overall, but it's familiar. It's the hard that you know. The hard you don't know is you decide to commit to meal planning and carving out time for self-care. It's hard to make time and break the habit, but over time, it leads to an increased energy, better health, and more vitality. So now it's time to choose your hard. And I want you to take a minute to think about one area of your life or business where you've been choosing the hard What's something you're avoiding because it feels familiar or unfamiliar or uncomfortable? Here's my challenge. Choose the hard you don't know. Take the first step, even if it feels scary. Growth happens in the unknown, y'all. And you owe it to yourself to experience that next level. It's hard. Yes. It's a both and. This is something I've been talking about a lot with my one-on-one clients. It's hard. Yes. And it will be rewarding when I meal prep, when I take care of myself. It's hard. Yes. To set boundaries, and it's going to free up my time. It's going to help me prioritize what matters most. So it is hard. Yes. And it's the kind of hard that's going to set you free. The moment you choose the unknown hard, like investing in a coach or hiring that VA, etc., you fill in the blank there, whatever that hard, unknown hard is for you, you will feel accomplished the moment you do it, even before you've created the result, because you will be taking a step forward versus being stuck. You will have had made a decision and exit the land of indecision. And hey, listen, if you are like, yes, I'm ready to choose the unknown hard, taking that first step alone can be scary. And maybe you're not taking the first step. You know you want to choose these unknowns, but you're stuck in your own mind about it, and you can't see the way forward. This is where coaching comes in. This is where I am encouraging you with all of the power that I can like pull and push through this microphone to reach in and get you to book a clarity call. That's the first step. The first step is to do that. So go right now and book the clarity call. You can go to martinewilliams.com. You'll see right on there where you can book the clarity call. And we'll also put a link in the show notes. But your next is now, and your next is up to you. So take your next step and go and book that clarity call. So thanks for joining me today on this episode of the Remix Moments with Martine. And remember, life is full of challenges, but you have the power to choose which hard you're going to take on, which hard you're going to stay in. Let's choose the one that leads to growth. And until next time, keep remixing your mindset one moment at a time. And I'm believing in you always. Well, that's it, friends, for this remix moment. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. And I hope that you are feeling inspired and ready to take on whatever comes your way. Remember, even small moments can lead to big changes. If this moment made a difference, be sure to subscribe, share with your fellow moms, and leave me a quick review. Seriously, it means the world to me to hear from you. And until next time, I am believing in you, and I will catch you in the next moment.